Hey, Kelly, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much for making some time for this. When you called and told us about, the benefits you've seen from CellYea, we're really excited to hear the feedback. We've put a lot of time into this, as you're aware. We kind of talked about off screen, and the testimonial about the product means a lot, but also knowing that it's actually impacting people's lives. Just for the audience too, today we're thrilled to be joined by Kelly Mata. Today she'll share her story on how CellYea has helped her reclaim her energy and mental clarity to perform at her very best. So let's dive in and hear Kelly's inspiring journey.
Wow.
Kelly, you're
You make me sound really good. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you do so much, and everybody's very inspired by you. I mean, what is the most difficult profession is being a mother. I think that, and you're doing so much more than that with the family business and so much that you do. So I know I'm blown away by you and many women out there, but you're handling a lot. And because you're doing all these things, raising 3 kids, running Covenant, supporting your gym members, both as a coach and nutrition expert. Can you walk us through just a day to start and what exactly kind of keeps you going and motivated?
Yeah. Well, if anyone out there has children, sleep doesn't always go great. So energy is always low the next day. But me and my husband basically wake up between 4:30 and 5, depending on if we're going to the 5 a.m. class. But yeah, I was always a very I've gone through like emotional waves with coffee. I love coffee. I love the taste, but there was a while I like took it out completely. I've always been sensitive to it, and so I still drink a little bit of it in the morning just for taste. But now with CellYea, that's like my main energy. So I take half the packet in the morning before my workouts, and I just ran a half marathon. I took a half a packet, and like I didn't train for the half marathon, and my energy was great the whole time. Um, Sorry, I have a little one coming out. Yes, ma'am.
Mikey, stepped on my toe.
Okay. Can you guys just give me a little bit of time?
Why?
Because I'm talking to somebody.
Who is it?
Austin.
And her.
Okay.
And her sorry.
Okay. It's okay. Okay.
So cute. He's a great addition to our letting everybody know.
Half day of school. Yeah, no, I literally just drink. So kind of like my protocol with CellYea, and then I'll tell you about my day, is like I drink half in the morning of the packet, and then I drink half like early, late afternoon, night around 12, no later than 12:30. And I like never have a crash all day. So yeah, our day starts between basically 4 and 5 every day. 2 of our kids go to school. So it's either Sean's coaching, I'm doing breakfast, getting the kids ready to get out the door by 7:15. Or I'm going to the gym at 5 a.m. So there's always an early morning. I try to have me time before they get up around 6. And then, yeah, I'm home with my 2-year-old all day. So he is the Energizer Bunny. So this has saved me, honestly. And like with the days that I don't take it, especially the powder, I take the pills every day, but sometimes I just forget to take the powders like when I'm on vacation. And there's like such a significant change in my mood and my focus and my energy. And I think that's the biggest testimony. Like we've tried so many supplements, and it's like, oh yeah, I think it works, but it's not drastic. This has been very drastic. And I just noticed the longer I've taken it, I just consistently feel better. We sleep better. And even like my husband, he swears by it before a race. Like his energy is so much more consistent through his races with this. And instead of using like these high caffeinated products that he takes before a race. But yeah, our days are long. We go to bed around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then wake up and do the 4 to 5 a.m. again.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks. I was actually going to ask you that too, and you kind of answered it, but I actually recently, I'm a customer of CellYea, and even though I'm also the founder CEO, but I gave away my capsules, and I haven't been off of them for like, I mean, at least almost a year now. And I gave my capsules to a potential customer that owns a storefront.
Yeah.
She likes them, but this is the first time I've been without them a little bit. And I was like, man, I feel different. And it took me, I was like, I haven't had my capsules. Would you say that you've kind of noticed that too? Or if you
For
even,
sure. Yeah. I think the capsules you can easily kind of forget, and it's kind of to what you just said, like you're like, why do I feel bad? Or like, why am I tired? And then you start like getting back on your routine and you can see the change, and it's so much better than having to depend on caffeine. Like, I don't know if all moms are like me, but like, especially when in baby phase, it's like a crutch, and this is just such a better way to energize myself. I don't crash. I don't get shaky. Coffee would almost like make my, just like give me brain fog, honestly. Like I'd be like awake and jittery, but I'd feel like kind of fuzzy. So this is just, I feel very clear headed, and the capsules are so important too. It's not like as much instant gratification, but to what you said, like when you're off of them, you definitely notice a difference. So like it's a marriage. You have to have both.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that feedback, because we get that question a lot. Do I need both of them? We did design them to work together, and this, but not many people do. We are working on, you had mentioned you use half a stick pack and then the capsules every day.
Yeah.
So we've heard our customers out, and we are designing one that comes all together. It's actually a half serving of each product. So, I think that the serving size we have for the capsules is great, but some people are taking like half stick early in the day, half stick later, 2 capsules daily. So you can have up to 2 sticks per day of these new product we're actually designing. And on a couple notes is, you mentioned that sort of that balance that you feel, no jitters. It does have caffeine, but it's natural caffeine. So a lot of products have like a synthetic type that's contributes to it. And there's also some aspects of the formula, like the vasodilation increases blood flow. So that helps to offset the vasorestriction that caffeine creates, actually, which is, so it balances out, the way the blood vessels, instead of like over restricting, they're allowed to dilate more normally, as opposed to generally coffee would cause some restriction. And then you also have adaptogens in there like rhodiola, that's going to help with like cortisol spikes and things that coffee sometimes can create. And then on the sleep note, real quick, because you mentioned that, I'd found that as well with the product. And, it's we used a balance, and it's really common is magnesium deficiency. Even if you're eating a really healthy diet, even if you're eating organic, getting enough magnesium is really a problem. And that's why we put it, so that the amount of magnesium in there is actually pretty much going to offset any deficiency. It's got almost 1,000 milligrams of magnesium glycinate in 1 stick pack.
Yeah.
So it's really almost everything you need in one product. I know we went over this a little bit. I understand that before finding CellYea, you were relying on coffee, but it wasn't giving you the energy boost you needed, and sometimes even caused brain fog. Can you tell us just a little bit? I know you iterated some of that, but just reiterate that point for us.
Yeah, I think for me, coffee is, again, it's more about the taste for me. But yeah, it was kind of like only what I knew to use for caffeine. And so I used it a lot, and I would drink it like in the afternoon also, but it was kind of the same, what I said earlier. It's like I would wake up, but I would feel shaky, and like, just, I think for me, like mental clarity is huge. Like I think being a mom, your brain is so fried and you're trying to remember everyone's schedule. And so if I'm like awake, but I can't like mentally think as clear, and I don't even think you know it when you're in the moment, you just think it's kind of normal. But when I shifted over to this, I mentally feel so much more clear and present, as opposed to just like, yeah, I don't even know how to, I think caffeine affects everybody different, but yeah, I was like awake and jittery, but just kind of like fuzzy. And yeah, I don't have that at all with CellYea. So I think CellYea, what people don't really understand is you're just getting so much for one product. You know, like, I don't know if people have taken Alpha Brain or even like electrolyte. It helps with your physical, your athletic performance, but like your mommy performance is so much better.
You're momming.
Your mommy performance. You're just like, you're
I
not.
love that.
Yeah, I feel like coffee can sometimes make you like slightly irritable,
Right.
especially if you drink it too much or drink it on an empty stomach. And I've never felt that way with CellYea.
Oh, that's incredible feedback. Thank you so much for sharing that testimonial with others. And yeah, I definitely know what you mean by kind of that brain fog. And you also mentioned it's almost like you don't know anymore. And I was at that point in my life. I think we've all been there, especially if we're, trying. Everybody's on a health journey, and you and Sean and y'all know that so well, because we're constantly teaching people that, like, it's not about surviving, it's about thriving in your life.
Yeah.
And even though we're a longevity brand, like, I don't really preach longevity any. I just preach like living the best you can today, and then that's really the best you can shoot for. And there's all kinds of reasons why we might not live a long time, so it's not really the focus. It's like, can we thrive today? And that's really the heart and soul of what we did. And the reason we made CellYea kind of more of a fun and hip brand was to be more sort of inclusive and trying to teach people to live in the moment. And it sounds like that on a science basis too, is like, it's homeostasis. Like, the body's so incredible. It has this ability to almost like just survive. Like, it's the, that baseline, and you're like, well, I guess this is life now. And it sounds like it had this impact on you, and it definitely did for me as well, which is just like, oh my gosh, I feel, like I used to when I was younger, or like, so when do you say that's kind of had that contrast where you're like, oh my gosh, I thought I was just stuck and I was going to be there forever, and now I'm back to my regular energy or my
No, I think as you get older, you just kind of like use that as an excuse for everything. Like, oh, I'm older. Oh, I have kids. Oh, I'm tired. And I think even though I'm still tired, it's not like I'm just like the Energizer Bunny all the time. I just feel I don't crash hard anymore, ever. Like, I used to always crash midday around 2-3 o'clock. I don't have that at all. Yeah, it's just like a very consistent energy. And I think the cool thing about CellYea is there's so much more to it, which you can go on a tangent with the cell rejuvenation. But I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's just like a pick me up. It's so much more than that. And I think that's what's really important to understand, is the cell rejuvenation side of it is like, you're fueling your body, and the more you take it, the better it's going to work and the better you're going to feel. So that's why I also like it, is like, it's fixing you internally.
Awesome. So I had some notes here that I wanted to make sure we covered everything with you. And sorry if it's a little bit reiterative, but it does help to kind of clarify for people that have never heard of this before.
Yeah.
But I think we covered some of the things I wanted to cover with you here. So I'm going to move past actually one of the things I wanted to ask you. But being a mom of 3 toddlers, running a business comes with a lot of stress. Have you noticed any changes in how you handle stress specifically, or anxiety, since you started using CellYea?
Yeah. So I definitely I get nervous very easily. And I used to have like anxiety in my 20s, but I can definitely feel it coming on sometimes. And when I have coffee, like if I'm going to do a nutrition seminar or coach in front of a class, I still get nervous, and I like intentionally don't even drink coffee. I just drink CellYea, and I don't have that like heart, my heart doesn't skyrocket. yeah, I feel a lot calmer. I think people really just have to try it, because it's the only product that I've ever had where I'm like, try this, it works. And I'm confident in saying that. And on a nervous and anxiety level, I think if you're a busy person, have to speak in front of people, or entertain or coach or whatever it is, I would say like ditch the coffee and use CellYea, because you still want that energy and you still want to, have something that helps wake you up. But this is so much better. You don't have the heartbeat that races and the brain fog that makes you not think as clear. So as far as like stress or anxiety, it's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I felt that as well. We call it the mental strength blend in the stick pack. And because it was like, what do we even name this? Like, it has so many characteristics and attributes as a multifunctional product.
For sure.
One of the two things that were actually, when we were developing it, it was new for me. And you know how long I've been doing this.
Yeah.
Was saffron and gardenia. And those two ingredients alone are, even if you bought that like a saffron by itself, the amount of saffron that we use and the type of saffron we use is very well researched, studied. It's not like just any run-of-the-mill saffron. And that stuff is very powerful antidepressant, anti-anxiety. It's just an incredible supplement. It only takes like a little bit, but it's as expensive as gold. Like, not even kidding. It's extremely costly. But we were determined to put things even of that nature, and we're using like almost all trademarks. We don't even claim really all of our trademarks, but everything in the product is trademark, scientifically backed ingredients, and it's also tested at least 5 times, like every single ingredient before it hits your door. So that's why it works. It works because it's pure and it's tested. It's not just any ingredient. We actually vet every single ingredient that goes into there stringently, and that's why it works. So thank you for sharing that feedback on anxiety and stress.
Yeah, no, it definitely helps. I think, again, like, people just have to stay consistent and stay on it, and you'll really see the effects the longer you're on it. Because again, it's a couple days, you're like, oh, I don't know. But after about a month, and if you go a couple days without it, you're like, oh, wow, that really works. So yeah, it sells itself.
This is a little, I had, like I said, some things planned to ask you, but you had mentioned, when you go in to coach the classes, and we've already told the audience that that's something that you do in the family business over at Covenant. The types of programs, I'd be curious, do you think that CellYea is conducive for the programs that you have at CellYea for people to be even potentially more successful in what y'all coach, for example, at Covenant? Is it complementary to what y'all
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our gym is strength based, but we have a lot of high intensity programming in it. And I think while strength is important and it tones you, hello, can you guys give me a little bit more time? Like 10 minutes?
No,
Please.
Hurt.
Okay. Okay.
Mommy, why did
Sorry,
you
give me a second.
No, you're good.
Hey.
Mommy, why did you put? We don't know the number. Mommy, we can watch it. Mommy, why did you put that friend up there?
Huh? So SJ doesn't break it. Sorry.
You're good. I think the idea is that people can relate. So other mothers watching this, it adds to the effect of the need for CellYea.
Okay. So the product, yes, I think it is a huge compliment into any athlete's performance. I mean, just from me and Sean, just with running, it changed the way we ran. Again, like, I did not train for this half marathon a couple weeks ago, and I took half the packet in the beginning and like a half, like around mile 9, and like I never crashed. It was great. Same with Sean, he qualified for Boston. But I think the most important thing with strength training is, like, it helps with recovery, it helps with endurance, it helps with fatigue. I I don't think people understand like how much you're getting in this one product. Like I really tap into like the energy side of it, but there's so much more that it does with like muscle recovery, and longevity. Like it's an anti-aging product at the end of the day. Like it's teaching your cells to, you know, go back to the way they were. And we all ruin our cells. But yeah, no, it's very, very beneficial if you're, I think any athlete, and a credit to your founders, the guy is an athlete. So
Yeah.
it's, you know, inspired by athletes, and me and Sean use it daily, and it helps with our athletic performance for sure.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And you're exactly right. Like we, you know, high intensity interval training, like we're trying to be very science-based. Anecdotally, we've heard people obviously say it's helping them with strength training and HIIT. So it means a lot for you to say that. But yeah, it was originally designed more for long distance athletes. And then we started saying, wow, this works for the brain. It works for stress. It works for so many things, mothers with brain fog. But yeah, it was originally designed for long distance athletes like the founder Jonas, which is doing 200-mile world record ultra cyclist.
And in his, I don't want to say he's old, but in his older years, like he didn't start young. So that's just really cool. And I think even strength training, like a lot of people take pre-workout, which I don't like think is great. I would be like, take this. It's so much better. You don't have that like crazy feeling like that, you know, like right before a workout. And you can, I think mental clarity is so huge when you're lifting weights. Like you need to be focused and understanding the way your body's moving. So it's the perfect complement to any strength training and any endurance training.
That is a really good point, and it leads kind of to my next question, because you have a practical application. You're in the field. You coach people on strength and exercise, and then you also understand nutrition. So some of the usefulness of these ingredients are useful, or you're knowledgeable about them. And I think that really helps as a great testimonial, because it's not just like, it definitely is less anecdotal. Like if you're, you know, some people kind of get a placebo effect maybe
for sure,
from these, but you're, you know, it works. So it's not placebo, like you're actually, it's working.
Yeah.
For you.
No, there's an instant gratification to it. Like right away, you're like, ooh, I feel great. But I think one, if you just understand cell rejuvenation, and women like anti-aging, we take all these supplements. You're literally getting all of this in one product. So again, back to what I said earlier, is like, if the longer you take it, you feel it. And if you go without it, you're like, oh yeah, like that really works. So
yes.
Yeah.
That contrast.
For sure.
Yeah. I call it a comprehensive approach to cellular health. There's brands out there that are looking at cellular health from some like singular aspect, and they definitely work, but cell needs so much. Like it needs hydration, proper magnesium, and you know, there's so much oxidation that undergoes. Like there were certain ingredients, like we actually took out a really great ingredient called transresveratrol or resveratrol, which is fantastic. But for long distance athletes, actually, it's been shown to actually possibly increase oxidation. So because we partially are looking at this application towards athletes, we actually took resveratrol out. And then also it's better to use every other day. So, and I'm only saying that to let the audience know, like so much went into like the planning of this thing and moving of the dial, and the amount of, we went through thousands of clinical studies to get this thing to where it's at today.
No, that's all.
So with your background in nutrition, you know, again, to kind of reiterate, I imagine you're very selective about what you put in your body. What about CellYea's formula aligns with you, you know, and I know you've said some of that already, but if you don't mind kind of reiterating it as a nutrition expert and coach. And again, just reiterate that for the audience that, you know, Kelly has a background in nutrition and also coaches people on exercise, and owns a gym with her husband that is very successful at turning people's lives around for context. But what would you say about that, about, you know, the formula that kind of aligns with you? You can reiterate some of those points.
Yeah. I mean, one, I think the most important thing with nutrition is like knowing where your food comes from and where it's sourced from. I think we get so fixated on calories and fat and yada yada. That's a whole nother conversation. But I think the ingredients for us have always been, not always been, but like the last 6 to 7 years, it's all about the ingredients and sticking to whole foods. And if it is packaged, like what are you eating? And CellYea and you especially have a history of biohacking and understanding the body and how it functions. And CellYea is just like such a testimony to that. Like there's only high quality ingredients. There's, like you said, the science, it's very intentional with the way it works and how it makes your body work. And we don't use products with ultra processed ingredients or bad preservatives. So CellYea aligns with our beliefs completely.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we definitely work very hard to keep all synthetics out of it, and then also keep out anything with any negative consequence or downsides. You know, a lot of these new things, sometimes we come out, there's ingredients that eventually maybe have a downside. And what we actually were adamant about as well when building the product was something that's been established. So most of our ingredients have been around actually like decades. So they're so well established for, you know, safety and efficacy and no downsides to them. That was really important. There were a few things kind of like what I mentioned earlier that we were like, well, there's a potential downside, so it's off. You know, like we wanted all pros and no cons to the supplement. So it sounds like it's having that impact. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kelly, for hanging in there. One last question before we close out here. What would you say to other busy mothers, business owners, or anyone who feels like they're always running on empty and looking for a way to feel their best again after in conclusion here?
Yeah, I would say go to cellyea.com. No, I mean, really, I think this product is like, once you try it, you don't have to like push it. It does what it says. I mean, I just gave it to my sister, who is her first grade teacher, who also coaches fitness classes, and she was crashing every day. And she is like, this was her answer to what she needed, you know. And you kind of, if you just think you're kind of stuck in this low energy, I hit a wall every day, you can change it, and you have to get CellYea, and you will be calling me and thanking me. No, it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And, you know, it makes me actually want to bring up just one last point here is we've had, I call it the CellYea aha moment.
Yeah.
And so some people hit it like in like literally the first 5 days. And then we've had others that are like at the 30-day mark, and they're like, I think I get it. And then most everyone that we've ever has bought the product by day 45, which is their second month on the product, are like, oh, I get it. I call it the CellYea aha moment. What would you say, like, your experience on getting that aha moment was?
Yeah, no, it's definitely real. I think for both of us, we always kind of crashed midday. I think if you're a parent, you just crash midday, and it's like your kids have so much energy for the second half, and you're like, oh, like just a race to bedtime. And I don't feel that way anymore. Like I feel like, okay, I'm ready to go for the last 3 hours the day. But yeah, I definitely, for me, it was an aha moment within the first week of trying it. I think if you're very in tune to your body, and I highly recommend this to everybody. It's like, really, I even say this with nutrition, like really listen to what your body is telling you. That's like, you have the best tool. Is like, if you're sensitive to something or something works for you, like listen to when you're tired, listen to when you're hungry, listen to your cues. And if you really are in tune to your body, you're going to have your aha moment within a week of using this. Like, you're like, oh, I didn't crash at 3 o'clock in the afternoon this week. And it's like so subtle because you just keep going. But like when you reflect on it, you're like, Oh man, I'm doing good. Like I'm doing really good. And it's 7, 8 o'clock at night and I go to bed just fine. And to me, that's huge because like other energy products, you know, they can overstimulate you and then you have a hard time sleeping later. And this is just like the perfect amount. Yeah, for me, it was within a week. And then especially in my training, endurance training, like I just feel a lot better. So if you're any kind of endurance athlete, you'll notice it right away. It's hard not to.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly. And thank you for sharing your story with us. It's so inspiring to hear, you know, how you found a way to balance so much without sacrificing your health and well-being and all the things that you juggle as a mother, business owner, and wife, and all the things you do. So it's very inspiring to hear people's story. I know you'll be inspiring many that see this. It's a reminder that with the right support, we can really do it all.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you again.
No, thank you.
One last thing for everyone watching, Kelly is also an ambassador now for CellYea. If you're inspired by her story and want to try CellYea for yourself, you can use her code Covenant Gym for a discount in the cart. So Covenant Gym, COVENANTGYM, for a discount in the cart. So thank you again, Kelly, for sharing your insights and for being such an inspiring advocate for health and wellness.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kelly.